Greed is not just good. Greed is godly.
Welcome back to WhodooTV for another trade review. I'm Hoosier.
And I'm Jared. And today we're talking about Archer and Armstrong Vol.1.
I am so pumped up for this. I love Valiant. You got to read this.
Yeah.
First time.
First time. And it was awesome. So I'm pumped about talking about this one too.
Yes. I like hearing it. We might have a little spoilers in today. If you haven't read this book, it is a must read. Mm-hmm. It really is a great book. This book is a great buddy duo combo. You get Obadiah Archer, who is this all amazing martial artist.
Yeah.
And he can pick up any martial arts so fast.
Yeah, it's like he can see it happening and be able to perform it.
Right.
Which is so cool.
Right.
That's an awesome power.
Then you get the fact that he was raised on a fundamentalist religious commune.
Yeah. It's like on an amusement park. And they are training these kids to fight each other for whatever reason.
Right.
For religious purposes. It's crazy.
To go for the one who shall not be named.
Yeah.
And so he's battling. He's got 20, I don't know how many foster brothers and sisters that he's battling for this job that that shows a scene where he's fighting them, and they all want this job, and Obadiah Archer, later just be called Archer, is kicking all the butts.
Yeah, I thought it was cool in the book. They go through, and as he's fighting them, it shows kind of the different techniques that he uses.
Right, how it'll tell them what martial art that they're doing at that time.
And it shows his capabilities a lot better. Like, it really shows you what he can do. I mean, there's stuff from all the way from kung fu to
taekwondo.
There's taekwondo.
And he even shows the little part where he learns to do lock picking very fast.
Yeah.
So it's pretty awesome. And then Archer.
Capoeira.
Yeah, the Brazilian art. Yes, he learns capoeira. We have Archer. Fundamentalist Christian, born on a religious commune. That's an amusement park.
Yep.
And he's a great martial artist. Then we meet Obadiah Armstrong.
Yeah.
And he is a all eternal living being.
Yeah.
That has been drunk for 10,000 years.
He's been sleeping around and drinking around for 10,000 years, protecting something.
Right.
Yeah. In
this book, we learn that the Anti-Pata brothers, which are very influential in the Valiant universe, we see that Glad, who we later learn is the Eternal Warrior down the road, is dead. And his brother Ivar is trying to activate what they call a boon.
And this is in the old Mesopotamia era, so it takes place, like we said, 10,000 years ago, as this guy's been walking around drinking and everything.
Right. And at this time, Aram is totally against Ivar doing this because he knows that activating this boon is going to do something not amazing, but horrible.
Yeah.
And Ivar activates it. It wipes the world clean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then so we get to the part where we meet Archer. He's at the amusement park.
The amusement park.
And he's trying to get his job. And he gets the job, and he says bye to his family.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a little extra connection with Mary Maria. Did you catch that?
I did. But can I say I thought it was a little weird?
It is.
They're foster brother and sister, or actually it says that they're adopted. So yet there's like a little spark there, which is a little strange to me, but that's okay.
You'll learn.
I think in this book anything kind of goes.
Yeah. And I think you'll learn that Fred Van Lente does some humor in some not bad ways, but very, very smart actually. It's very, just his humor is great.
Absolutely, yeah.
He does a very good job on it. So he had that weird Mary Maria, and then he goes to New York City, and this is his first time outside of this religious amusement park that he's been at for most of his life.
Yeah, his entire life.
And we also see that he is, he goes into this bar, and there's this bar fight, and there's this crazy guy wearing a goat jacket.
Yep.
And he goes and kicks the guy's butt.
Yeah, he's got this piece that like shows him who he who shall not be named like is, and it points to this guy, and he just starts fighting him, and I loved it. Because he's like grown up in this religious thing, the way he enters the fight is he just screams, "Get behind me!"
Yes, because the guy and the lady are actually having a fight.
Yeah.
And then the lady beats up Archer.
Yeah.
And then we learn Armstrong's at the bar trying to get a girl to take off her bra and put it up at the bar. I later learned through an interview with Fred Van Lente that that's actually a real bar in New York City that's based on. Yeah, so it's kind of cool.
Oh, man.
That he based it off a bar he actually went to. And Armstrong, finally puts down his beer and goes and stops the fight. And Archer, while this bar fight's going on, tells Armstrong, like, "I'm sorry, I wouldn't have gotten beaten up by her. I'm actually a really good martial artist." And he goes, "Dude, don't worry. Her track marks have stretch marks. Your record would remain spotless." It's bad. Just hilarious. Then a moment later, we figure out, after the fight's all said and done, that his little boon piece is what it is. Yeah, it's a piece
of the boon.
Turns out, and it faces Armstrong, and that's when Archer realizes Armstrong is the one that he shouldn't be, that he is out for.
Yeah. And so he immediately starts wanting to fight him.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
And then in come the Sec army and kind of ends that, and they put them in there, and they end up getting put into a jail cell, and Armstrong is strapped with his arms against the wall, and he's trying to tell Archer that his parents, the Archers, who are a reverend and a senator, that they are evil, that they're trying to find something for him, and they're using him. Archer doesn't want to believe this. Archer gets his lock-picking skills we talked about earlier. He opens the door, and he goes and finds all of these people wearing golden masks, and they call themselves the 1%. And Archer's being talked about, and there's this big screen where he sees that it's his parents talking about how he was just a sacrifice, and Archer goes ballistic.
Yeah. Archer, his whole worldview crumbles at that moment. He followed his parents through everything, and then all of a sudden he realizes that they weren't for him at all, and so the floor drops from it, you know, and then he goes nutso, and it's crazy.
And then Armstrong breaks out. He finds his magical satchel, and that's more to come on that.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool little tool that he has, and he breaks out and he goes to try to save Archer, and Archer has Solon, a Jesus-like person, naked person, kind of tell him, "You need to be friends with Armstrong. You guys need to work together to get this figured out." And they go from there, and they start on their buddy duo, and Archer agrees to Armstrong that he was right. My parents are evil. I've figured that out already.
Yeah. But it seems like he's not like 100% bought into being partners with Armstrong. Like he was told by this Jesus character, who he believes is Jesus, at this point, that he needs to follow Armstrong, but still his heart isn't quite there. And that's I think that's fun because they're together, they're working together, but there's still sort of this conflict between them. It's a fun conflict,
right? And that's what makes it.
Absolutely.
Right. And so they end up stealing the 1% plane, I'm assuming, and they go to Rome.
Yeah.
And they're in Rome, and it's one of the funniest scenes. They're on a little scooter, and Archer is just squeezing Armstrong.
And Armstrong's this huge guy on this little scooter. It's really funny.
And then while they're going by the Colosseum, and they're going through, and Armstrong, who's lived 10,000 years, is saying, "Oh, that's where me and Michelangelo used to go pick up the girls, and you know, I once got laid in that alley.
And I loved how he called Michelangelo Mikey.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's one of his good buddies back in the day.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, Mikey was the best wingman.
Right?
It's so good.
And he talks about former emperors of Rome and, you know, the different eras and the Renaissance period. And it's fun and games. Like, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
They end up getting to the Vatican.
Yeah, and I gotta say, the Swiss Guard thing was hilarious too.
Yes.
Armstrong bet Michelangelo to design the Swiss Guard uniforms,
right?
And like try to come up with the most ridiculous design that he possibly could and see if they'd buy it. And I think Michelangelo said, like, no way they're gonna buy this one. But, you know, as we see with the Swiss Guard today, Armstrong won that bet.
Right?
It's so funny.
It's hilarious. And then he's like, that's the Moses statue is actually the statue I posed for of Michelangelo.
Yeah, he was like, I was much more svelte back in those days.
Oh, so it's filled with comedy. It's so great, and it's actually, like I say, it's so intelligent the way it goes. And then they get into the Vatican, and they meet one of Armstrong's nuns that he's known at the Vatican.
It's like an ex-girlfriend almost too.
Right?
But she's like super old because they got together like a long time ago.
I like how he's like, wow, I didn't think Armstrong would have a sophisticated lady of Christ.
Yeah.
I met him before.
A woman of the cloth.
Oh, and then they start doing through the arts of the Vatican, start trying to uncover pieces of the boon.
Yeah.
So it's like an art history, Vatican history of different pieces in there where they're unlocking multiple things throughout it.
Yeah, it was like the Da Vinci Code or like other books by Dan Brown.
Right.
But it was hilarious because they also took a dig at Dan Brown in the book and like said how he like got all that stuff wrong or whatever it was that they said. Like, it was funny, but like I got that vibe, and then they totally just like broke that open and said like, you know, we know this is kind of like that, but you know, that sucks.
It's pretty good. And then we see Mary Maria up underneath the Sistine Chapel.
Yeah.
Pulling out a piece of the boon. And Archer and her embrace. They're so happy with each other. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Until Armstrong comes to ruin it.
Right. And then she realizes, like, because the piece of the boon that she had pointed toward Armstrong, and she was like, what the heck, you know, you gotta fight him right now. And
she shoots at his eyes.
Yeah. That was like the first thing she does is 2 arrows right into his eyes. And he like just falls down, and he's like, whatever. Like,
right? Oh,
they'll grow back.
And he's so funny. It reminds me of Gilligan's Island. I can't see, little buddy.
Yeah.
He kind of starts calling Armstrong little buddy. It's pretty awesome. And one reason why Armstrong came late is because he was back getting drunk. He found a 1978 and a 1787 bottles of wine, and he's just like, all right.
Yeah.
Stops everything he's doing, gets drunk.
Yeah, he was just throwing them back.
And then Archer is so pissed off at him about it. It's funny. He's like, all you do is get drunk. That's it. So I'm done. Oh. Yeah, it gets to be pretty awesome when they get to that point. And there's one part of it, I'm going back and forth. There's one part where Armstrong makes a comment like, I don't really remember where I put it. You know, I've lived for 10,000 years. And it's kind of hard to remember things for 10,000 years when you've been drunk as a Kennedy on St. Patrick's Day.
That was terrible, but it was hilarious.
Yeah, I like it. And then after Mary Maria steals the satchel, she leaves, and then we see the parents, or the Archers, are at the Lassine Monastery with the green dragon llamas.
Yes.
That look like Adolf Hitler.
They're like Nazi Buddhist monks, or
Nazi Buddhist monks with the Hitler mustache, and they got the boon there. They got the boon there. And it turns out that the Archers have all of the pieces of the boon, and they're trying to activate the boon. And they get to this boon, and Archer and Armstrong gather everything up, and they get to this place where they're at, and they go and try to break up the party.
Yeah.
And they do a pretty good job.
Uh-huh.
But the Archers still turn on the boon.
The boon.
And it starts like sucking the life out of everybody that's there.
Yeah.
Right?
It's crazy. Like even his parents were getting the life sucked out of them, and they were the ones that turned it on.
Right.
Which makes me wonder, like, what happened with Armstrong, you know, in his time when it was turned on. Like, what was that about?
Right.
So.
Right. And then the Jesus guy appears again.
Yeah.
And Archer's like, I'm not believing who you're trying to make me think you are. Mm-hmm. And we learn that it's Ivar Time Walker, which was one of the Antipater brothers, Armstrong's brother.
And he was the one that turned it on.
He's the one
first
that turned
time,
it
right?
on.
Yeah.
And he said that he's been trying to figure out how to get rid of it, how to figure out how to destroy it since that he made the mistake and turned it on prior. And so he basically gets into Archer's brain and shows Archer how he can punch this thing to destroy it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
The weak point.
Right.
Yeah.
And he finds the weak point and it's destroyed. And that's kind of where the book kind of goes from there.
Right.
This is just volume 1. What did you think?
I thought it was awesome. I loved it. I absolutely enjoyed the banter between the two characters. It was fun. I mean, Archer has a bit of a stick up his butt, and Armstrong's just kind of like, whatever. Like, I'm just gonna do this, and like he'll take time for himself. Because I mean, as someone who's lived for 10,000 years, like time isn't really like a thing, and he's just doing his own thing and what he enjoys, and it's fun. Like that's the thing of it. Like everything in here is just a lot of fun, and that's pretty much what I got out of it. Right. Like, I had a good time reading this book.
Right. And the writing is very well done. Clayton Henry's art is good.
Absolutely.
All the way around. You can't say anything bad about it. It fits the book very well. It is a great buddy combo for the most unlikely of combos.
Yeah, right.
And it really works. It is very funny. It's an easy, fun read. But you're getting a lot out of it. There's a lot of little things you uncover if you read through it a couple of more times that you kind of, I didn't notice that little jab there at the Da Vinci Code.
Yeah.
It is great how they do that.
It's funny, and it's not like the jokes that are written in it aren't heavy-handed, you know? Right. It's not just like, they're just trying to make a joke because they like want this to be a funny book. Like the jokes come in at appropriate times, right? And it's hilarious every time that it's delivered. Like I was like giggling to myself as I was reading this book, and I was like reading it in my office at lunch. Like,
it is a great book. And one thing that's super awesome, it was announced recently that the director of Zombieland has been assigned to direct this.
Yeah.
This is something Valiant's kind of hit under a little bit, that we didn't know that this was in the works.
Yeah.
And I'm excited.
Yeah. Ruben Fleischer is the director, which is a lot of fun. It's interesting. I was doing some research on it a bit. They've been trying to get a couple Valiant titles into film, like Bloodshot and Harbinger. Right. But for some reason, those have been it's been hard to find people to be a part of that. Right. But this one seems to actually like have movement in it, and it's really cool. So we have the director. We also have the screenwriter now too. Right. It's Terry Rossio. He wrote Shrek. He was a co-writer on most of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Right. And he's also just recently joined the King Kong vs. Godzilla movie, like the writing room there.
Oh, that's cool.
So like he's gonna be super busy, but it's gonna be cool. I think
I'm excited for that because the way he wrote Donkey and Shrek.
You
know what I mean? It's just gonna fit itself so well to this story.
Absolutely. And the original Pirates was fun too because there was comedy in it, but it was also the direction of it was a serious direction. There's real issues that were going on and they were fighting it, but the comedy in it was really natural. So I think it's really going to lend itself to this story. Like his writing style is going to be perfect for this story. Right. It's awesome.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
So Jared, now you're a couple Valiant titles in.
Yeah.
Harbinger. We've done a little EXO.
And
now Archer and Armstrong. What are you thinking?
I think it's great. Yeah. I'm surprised at how much I'm enjoying all this. I didn't think it was going to be terrible, but because they're titles that I was unfamiliar with, I didn't really know. They're titles that don't necessarily have a lot of traction when it comes to like superheroes or anything like that, which is dominated by DC and Marvel, and now Image is taking a lot of that market share too. So it's a smaller company and everything, but I'm so glad you're getting me into this.
Right.
It's so much fun. Archer and Armstrong, I'm definitely going to try to catch up on and get to read everything out there that's on there, because I love these characters so much.
That's good.
I talked about some other characters I really enjoy, Faith and Auric of Dacia is awesome too. So it's a great publisher.
It's funny, this book with the comedy duo, not very serious book, lends itself to the universe of Valiant quite often. The Himalayas brothers are very in and out of the whole universe.
Oh.
You'll learn more about Archer that goes on with the universe.
Okay.
The Eternal Warrior is very popular. Time Walker is very popular. There's a lot more you learn about Archer even further that lends itself to the whole universe. So it's actually a really important book for the universe.
Cool.
And you're getting on at the right time. Like you said, the traction not necessarily there, but the movie... on the works.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
going to play a big role in it. So I would recommend it for people just to be in the know, because you're going to like it. You will like reading this book. You will laugh. It's just awesome. Fred Van Lente has done really well with the work of Archer and Armstrong with his run. His full run on that is really good. He recently did Generation Zero. That's been a hit or miss title for him.
Okay.
He's coming back to do another Archer and Armstrong one shot.
Cool.
Which is the Eternal brothers, and they go and meet King Arthur's court.
Whoa.
So it's a cool little back, because they've lived forever. They can go everywhere. So they're great characters to have in a universe.
Yeah.
And Fred's doing that. Fred's done quite a bit Marvel titles and whatnot.
Yeah. In fact, this week he's coming out with Deadpool versus the Punisher.
Oh.
It's going to be a 5-part series, and like number 1 actually comes out this week.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah, so it'll be fun.
yeah. I like Fred's at work. And then Clayton Henry, I think he does, like I say, he does a good job on the art on this book. He did really great on this art.
Yeah.
So I recommend it. I'm saying go buy it.
Yeah. You know what? I'm in the buy category too.
Great.
I want this on my shelves.
Putting a link down below to get this this trade. A couple other good trades for you. Some good deals down there. Take a look at it. So this movie's coming out, dude.
Yeah.
I told you my fan cast. Who do you want as yours?
Yeah. So I was thinking... So for Armstrong, Armstrong's a tough one,
right?
Because I want to merge comedy and action and everything. So I was thinking John C. Reilly would be an interesting choice.
That would be.
Yeah, but then I don't know how well he'd do with the fighting and everything. So then I thought maybe if Gerard Butler had not bulked up muscly, but a little bit, got a little bit of a belly going. He'd play a good one. Yeah, especially with his Scottish accent. I think that would be fun.
I could see that.
And I think for Archer, Aaron Taylor Johnson.
What's he from?
He was Kick-Ass.
Okay.
And he also did he was Quicksilver in Age of Ultron.
Okay.
So that guy, I think, cut his hair short, get it blonde. He does a great teenager voice kind of thing going on, and I think he'd be really good.
That's cool.
There's some pictures of his hair short in Godzilla, the new Godzilla that came out, so that was kind of something oh man, he could actually be really, really good at this one.
Right.
So yeah.
What I don't know if you ever saw the movie Knuckleheads, and it has the WWE Big Show in it.
Oh, the Big Show.
He fits it perfect. He looks like it. He's got the size. He's funny in that movie. I would go Big Show all day long.
That's
with
good.
Armstrong.
That's good.
You don't have to do any editing for the size and the brute that he is. It's there. And then I was thinking it'd be funny to get, just in it alone, after his role in Breaking Bad would be Aaron Paul as Archer. Yes.
Oh, that's actually a good one too.
Yeah, he just looks the part, right? You get him clean shaven, get his hair cut short, Aaron Paul, Breaking Bad, and he'll be Breaking Bad with Armstrong.